Who's the odd man out in the Arizona Cardinals defensive line room? Will Will Johnson start day one? Who's to blame for the offensive inconsistencies last season? Can they fix them going into 2025? It's the biggest burning questions going into Arizona Cardinals training camp. My old friend Alex Clancy is here. That's the nicest I'm going to be to him today. You can count on that on this episode. PHNX Cardinals now. Fired up live from PHNX Studios downtown. That's the last time I'll fail at opening the show. Clancy's a little alarmed by what just happened. Johnny Venerable will be back tomorrow, but of course, my old co-host, Alex Clancy, hanging out. Follow him on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Check him out on a daily basis, talking about this team just like we do at Locked On Cardinals. And man, we are getting into it in the thick of summer, just about 3 weeks from training camp. What are the burning questions going into 2025 camp for the Redbirds? Hope you're all doing well. What's up, Shaft? Love to see you in here. I know you told us yesterday you're having a little procedure done. Hopefully that went well. You're on the mend. Alberto, Ryan, what's going on? Rebel Leader, Mr. Fat Gangster, Jacob T. Cleary, G. Willikers. He's saying, I've improved over the past week. I actually think that was my worst performance. Noah, you tell me. You're on the ones and twos every day. How did it sound?
Horrible.
Well, you're fired. Okay, we're moving on with a new producer on the back end here. We'll figure out. We'll just get maybe a janitor working here in the building to fill in. But in the meantime, we are going to get into some big-time burning questions as far as this team goes. Clancy, when you think about it, like we're not going to go deep dive the offseason, but as we kind of have it in the rear view mirror, what kind of questions kind of come up to you as we're just weeks away from them hitting the campgrounds?
I mean, I think it's the offense first. What it's going to be, what the last 2 months of the season are going to be, irrespective of what happened this offseason. That's the burning question.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the most stable roster Kyler Murray's had. I think it's the most stable front office Kyler Murray's had. The most stable coaching staff. So can they put it all together? I think is the most generic way, but they're finally in a place where they can put it together. It's just a matter of will they?
Right. And it's the group, the unit, the side of the football that had the least turnover has the biggest questions remaining, where I think, hope springs eternal for the defense that was revamped throughout the offseason, whether it was in free agency or through the draft. Mm-hmm. They utilized all the resources to do that. And so you expect with good coaching, as far as, of course, Gannon, the guy calling all the shots, and then, of course, the guy calling the plays on that side of the football, Nick Rollis, there's an immense amount of confidence that with good coaching, improved personnel, you're going to see better performance from the defense, which was, arguably the most consistent side of the football in 2024. Can it be, the most, dynamic group as far as this team goes next year? We got some questions as far as just the defensive side in general. I mean, by maximizing their resources and throwing them at that side, you've got a numbers crunch as far as the defensive line. You've got some new members in the pass rush room. You've got a brand new rookie who fell in your lap in the second round. Is he somebody you start day one? Right. And then, tackling that offensive side of the football, we're going to get into all that. Plus, it is this is a day that transcends its sport that kind of made it famous. Major League Baseball, of course, Bobby Bonilla Day, where the Mets infamously gave him a deal that continues to go into the 2030s, where they pay Bobby Bonilla over $1 million on this day each and every year. What's one of the worst contracts in Cardinals history? That's how we're going to tackle it. Plus, 49ers fans found our NFC West rankings. We see how they absolutely pulverized us on the Twitter streets. Some takeaways, some highlights, Noah, from 49ers Nation just being befuddled by our NFC West rankings.
Yeah, there's some good ones, and there were a lot more than you would expect.
Yeah, I can't wait to see those. It just they look at us and they see we do a Cardinals podcast. They believe that we are biased beyond belief, and then they'll sit there and just tell us to imagine a world where 2024 didn't exist and the Niners then just bottom out, and that we just should have trust that Christian McCaffrey is going to be the man he was in 2023, not 2024.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Montana went 4-0. So that's pretty much what they've been living off of in the 90s and the 2000s and up to now. Like the most out of touch elitist fan base in football. It's never their fault. It's always somebody else.
Yeah, I don't see any lies told in that statement. All right, let's get into these big kind of burning questions as we get into it. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports, download, review, rate podcast wherever you find those pods. Let's get into it. The defensive side is one of those ones where it's like they're position battles that are going to be on full display come camp. One of the ones that's kind of under the radar with Kazir White exiting this organization on amicable terms, right? You've got kind of a changing of the guard as far as the off-ball linebacking core. Mack Wilson's a holdover. He was a successful free agent signing from the previous offseason. He's going to be joined by who? We start to look at it right now as we pull up our quiz for the day. Top debates going into training camp. Some great graphics by our guy Noah. Who starts next to Mack Wilson Sr. at linebacker? Here are your options, Alex Clancy. Akeem Davis Gaither, ADG. Cody Simon, the 4th-round pick out of Ohio State. Or the player entering his 3rd season, Owen Papo. Or maybe we could throw a D, somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fun one and the one that's most likely to happen, I think, would be Cody Simon. Like the reason why I say that is, first of all, defensive MVP of the national championship game.
Sure.
They've got the last 2, Will Johnson and him. Mack Wilson is a great mentor, even though he's not a Pro Bowl guy. But most importantly for me, Bo, the infrastructure, the insulation with all of the other position groups will allow him to kind of learn at an NFL level and not have to what I call save the position. He wasn't drafted to save the position. And I know that Owen may be the choice. I know they brought the other in free agency, but like Cody Simon's a dog, man. Like Cody Simon is a NFL player and he just hasn't played any snaps yet.
And he's a guy that's, trending in the right direction like his entire career. He's a guy that's taken a step forward since he arrived in Columbus and then got on this trajectory that did kind of hit that fever pitch of being the best defensive player in that game where the Buckeyes, lifted the national title trophy in the college football playoff. And then he falls to the 4th round. But look, that's because this position isn't valued like it once was. Right. There's very few that are regarded as day 1 picks, day 2 picks. I think that's when you start to see it. And he wasn't held in the same regard as like a Carson Schlesinger who went to the Browns to open up the 2nd round. But I think you've got a guy that has a resume collegiately that stacks up pretty close to anybody else, but also is on the upward trend at the right time. All that being said, I think it's Akeem Davis Gaither.
Okay.
I do. I think that, and I'm seeing in the chat, people are thinking that maybe a guy like ADG is going to maybe get it to start, and then maybe he's just a placeholder for a guy like Cody Simon. I don't know if the organization is one of those where they're going to take a guy that's going to play the off-ball linebacker position, wear that green dot, and then want to kind of have to change that voice in the defensive huddle midway through or at any point during the season. That's what's so important to me about this position battle is who's going to wear the green dot, who's going to be on the field the longest, and who's going to be the one that's going to be able to, that they're going to feel confident. We make this choice now. This is going to be one that's going to look good in November, December.
Yeah, and I think that, and that's fair. I get it. You go with the vet. You go with the guy who's played in the NFL before. I understand it. It makes sense. It's rational. And this is a far cry from, Zaven Collins is starting week 1.
Right.
Okay, so this isn't that.
And then flip-flopping on that.
Jordan Hicks, you're welcome to seek a trade. Okay, that was years ago. We'll find out in camp what Cody Simon is. Mm-hmm. And I know that camp is kind of, it's the foyer into the auditorium. Like, you're not going to see everything in camp, obviously, but when it comes to a guy like that, when it comes to a skill set like that, when it comes to instinct that is so important from the off-ball linebacker position, even if he's not the best in coverage, he's got dudes over the top to help. So if he's close, this isn't a rush. They're not going to rush him in. Nick Rallis has gotten so much out of nothing, comparatively speaking, compared to what the Cardinals have now. So you bring in a dude like that with his skill set, even if he's not great in coverage, and you just throw him in. I understand the safe spot. I get it. But if he's 85% of the way there, let it rip and then retract if need be.
I love this from Sports Heroes saying, he's responding to Trey saying, watching Bo and Clancy's like watching your favorite old TV show reruns. So nostalgic, so beautiful. Yeah, it's we're running it back as far as the Locked On Cards crew. It's like watching Seinfeld reruns, right?
Yeah, it's like if George wasn't on the show, it'd be better. That's what Locked On is now, because Jerry's still there, you know.
You're more like Kramer. You're Kramer. I'm clearly Seinfeld.
I'm Newman.
You're Newman.
Hello, Noah. Yeah, there we go.
Good.
We figured it out. I appreciate that. But yeah, G. Wilk is saying ADG, Akeem Davis Gaither, because past defense and experience. The one thing I do like about both of these players is their pass rush upside.
Yep.
Like Davis Gaither is somebody that I think you could make the case. You talk about Locked On, James Rapine, who covered the Bengals so well, describes him as a hybrid linebacker, and I like that versatility.
Yep.
The good news, though, Clancy, is like if Akeem Davis Gaither does lose out to Cody Simon, he isn't a useless player on this roster. Right. And it's not just like, just get to the back, you're down the depth chart. He's a guy that excels on special teams. So that's something that I think you can take into consideration. But there you go. You've got a couple of good options there. I'm going to go with Akeem Davis Gaither. You're going with Cody Simon.
If it's close, not forcing the issue. They're not going to force the issue. But if it's close, let the kid go.
Yeah. Hey, I don't disagree with that. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the exam going, Noah. Just throw up the next question if you don't mind. Top debates going in the training camp. Who is the main pass rusher opposite Josh Sweat? Now, we know this is a rotation. We know we're going to see most of these guys consistently week in and week out, barring, obviously, health. But Josh Sweat seems like somebody that you can Sharpie into the starting lineup at the very least. Who gets the honor? Who gets the privilege to be opposite him? But I think most importantly, Clancy, like when it's third down and it's the fourth quarter and you need a big-time play, who are you going to two outside linebackers, pass rushers going to be that are going to be out on the field? Your options, Baron Browning, B.J. Ojulari, Zaven Collins, and the newcomer rookie, Jordan Birch.
Doesn't number 10 kind of piss you off that he chose number 10? Sorry. I just, it's not a pass rusher.
It's not aura for you?
It's not, huh? No, it's not. It's not a zero Will Johnson. It doesn't. I think right now, like, who has the most upside out of all four of those? I think it still could be B.J. Ojulari, because we saw a little bit, but it's so far removed. It's in the Mesozoic era now. People forget that he's on the team. You know, he's been injured twice. We saw at the end of his rookie season, after he came back, we saw the bend, we saw the burst when he was wearing number 18. We saw it all. And the answer to this question, though, is probably Baron Browning to me. Like, this is where I want to vet. Now, Jordan Birch and that violence and that bull rush that, you know, has been his calling card at Oregon and then, you know, coming to the NFL, why they drafted him in the third round. If that pops and Nick Rallis wants to throw him in bull rush, maybe alongside Darius Robinson on the right side and take over to maybe set up for a corner blitz or set up for a linebacker blitz or something like that, that may be different. But I think you want the floor to be as high as possible. And as of right now, Baron Browning has the highest floor of all of them. I wouldn't even put Zaven Collins in the conversation.
Shaft saying any one of those guys could win that role, and it's going to be obviously in the eye of the beholder, the play caller. You know, who do they feel most confident, especially when we're talking about these big time situations, you know, late in games. And I'm with you. Like, I think in a perfect world, if he stays healthy and he gets back on track, it's B.J. Ojulari, because all we've heard from the players, the coaches, pre-injury and even post-injury, we talked to Michael Wilson, was this guy projects to be a double-digit sack guy. That's what you want. That's the type of sizzle you want from the pass rush, right? Like the least amount of sizzle. If I told you that Zaven Collins, who excels in almost all the departments that Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon want from their pass rushers, except for sacks.
Yeah.
That's
stuff that matters.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like where the fan base is going to be like, well, I want a guy who can pin his ears back and get after a quarterback. And I think who provides the most upside to do that with a little bit of an edge potentially in the other departments is a guy like BJ Ojulari. But like just based on availability right now as it stands, Baron Browning's probably the safest bet.
Does that kind of worry you when you see what the other pass rusher list looks like, even though they've had such a great in-season with the interior and all of that, which is obviously going to spiral into making it easy, snowball into making it easier for the pass rushers to get home because there's going to be some interior pressure on the A and B gaps. But like Baron Browning, Bija Ojulari, Zaven Collins, and a rookie, like does that make you pause at all when you see a list like that? Or are we looking at good enough and the secondary is really going to be the star of this defense?
Well, I mean, if the interior defensive line wasn't bolstered, and we're going to talk about that group here shortly, but if it hadn't been, that's where you're saying, hey, this is a battle of the mid. Like this is not something that I feel an extreme amount of confidence. Sure, like you could project it to be something down the road, but as far as proven commodity outside of Josh Sweat, it doesn't exist in this group. And you take any one of these guys out of it, especially with the biggest guy, Sweat. How does it look? It looks very pedestrian and below average. So like it's a very volatile group. That's what I believe about it. But it's elevated, I think, from what the interior defensive line is going to offer, and potentially, I think all the investments that they've had in the defensive secondary, how they develop here in year 3 for Garrett Williams, year 2 for Max Melton, and hopefully a big year 1 for a guy like Will Johnson.
Yeah, and Humble took it from me. Humble Rumble took it from me. What if they move Darius Robinson on the outside if people are struggling? Like they've got bodies, which obviously
they want to be multiple. They obviously want to be multiple on defense, and Darius Robinson gives you ability with the bigger body guy on the edge. It's something they wanted to do. Mack Wilson with a smaller guy. Yep. He's somebody that could do that. And Jordan Birch can cross-train between, the edge and the interior defensive line. So you've got versatility, diversity. And I think that's what makes it appealing to me. And it's one of those things where you can ball on a budget a little bit with your outside linebackers outside of Josh Sweat that you just gave, the biggest contract, under the current tenure.
Yeah,
regime.
They are what they were for so long. And when you and I were doing the show, they were top heavy. They had stars, they had all pros, and then not much else. If one guy gets hurt, then they're kind of screwed. They're like recession proof talent wise in most positions.
Feels
obviously,
like it,
for the most part. Like say Josh Sweat were to get a tummy ache for a couple weeks. I don't like talking about injuries.
A couple week tummy ache?
Yeah, say it's a couple weeks. Say he brutal. Ate, Culver's or Taco Bell or something. It's something for a couple
cooking.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ate my cooking. My hamburger helper, Hamby. They're able to Noah.
Hamburger helpy from
how dare
Clancy.
How dare you? Throw some mushrooms and onions in there, bro. It's a thing.
I used to as a kid.
He acts like he's the bear all of a sudden. He takes like an actual fresh ingredient and throws it into his processed kid food.
Yeah, but
hands.
But they're kind of recession proof talent wise.
I feel that way too. Like I don't know if I'm being naive on it, but I see like the floor on it is a lot higher than it's really ever been across the roster. But it also provides the upside that you want, whether it's Baron Browning, who you saw him just in a sample size during his Broncos tenure. I think he put together like 5 consecutive weeks with a sack, but after that has been pretty quiet as far as getting to the quarterbacks. He's just a pressure guy. Can he turn that? Can it translate back to sacks? Can guys like BJ Ojulari and Jordan Birch provide the getting to the quarterback upside that you don't necessarily see ever happening for Zaven Collins, even though he's a really good player otherwise? Outside of that.
And Zaven, you've championed him a lot. You're closer to the team than I am, as I'm not on the beat. They don't need sack numbers this year. They need as many pressures as possible. Like, obviously, that's the goal of any pass rusher, any interior defensive lineman. They've got sharks in secondary, man. Like, the opportunities, I would put a friendly wager out there. The Cardinals will have as many turnovers forced this year than they did the last 2 years combined. Like, I think it's something
that's what they value more than sacks. I mean, Gannon told us that much. I mean, Johnny Venerable wanted to go after him, take him to task for saying sacks is not a winning stat. And Gannon said, well, we value the ball more. Yeah. We want the ball. If we can, if our defense can be disruptive enough, especially up front, the rush part of rush and cover can be disruptive enough to turn these average to above average quarterbacks and to pedestrian to below average, we got confidence that our guys in the secondary can get their hands on footballs.
Yeah. And with the wizard-like minds of Nick Rallis specifically, like, it doesn't matter who's on the field. It's going to be at the time where their best skill set will be where they're placed on the field. So, Brian, get off my ass. Can we say ass here? You guys swear here.
What are you talking about? Brian loves it.
Listen,
This is not gonna
Brian
lie.
saying that with a smile and an eye roll. Get off my ass.
He loves a hamburger helper like a good sloppy Joe. I think he's
Joe's
being
not the
honest.
same thing. That's too sweet. It's too sweet.
Wow. Okay.
Pagani and I go back.
He's a great guy.
Yep.
BP, always in the chat here consistently here on PHNX Cardinals. We're going to continue our biggest burning questions going into the Cardinals 2025 training camp, plus the worst contracts in franchise history, all coming around the corner here. PHNX Cards. A staple here around the valley, it's Pure Edibles. It's not just Clancy's hamburger helpy that's being made in a condo by you. It's actually Pure Edibles in over 130 dispensaries statewide. They are synonymous with our great state. Born and bred up the road, I-17 in Flagstaff. Now they call Phoenix home because, welcome to big leagues. They knew that they could just go big time here. They got their Pure gummies. They're not covered in sugar like all their competitors. Pure is a full-fledged candy company. They got their gummies. They got the kicks. They're just like Starburst, delicious there. Chews, soft candies like caramel, and of course hard candies. And the Pure effects clearly listed on each 10, so you know what effect to expect from your Pure gummies, hard candies, chews, whatever it may be. Pure offers gummies for sleep support as well as candies with uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids like CBN, CBG, CBD, and marijuana derived from THC. Check them out right now. Pure Edibles, they're designed to be ripped, bit in half, making them easily shareable and easy to dial in that exact dose. Go find yourself some Pure Edible products at one of the 130 dispensaries across Arizona. Keeping it going here for our friends over at Monarch Money. Love Monarch Money. You've got, of course, yourself financially being pulled in so many different ways. You don't know exactly where your money's going. Why not dial it up a notch with Monarch Money? Finances can be messy and confusing, but Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, and they're giving you the full visibility and control so you could just stop earning and just start growing your money. Make it start working for you a little bit. Check it out. Don't just manage money. Start building wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners here at PHNX Cardinals. Check them out right now. Go to the website, monarchmoney.com. Put it in your browser and use the code PHNX for 50% off your first Monarch Money first year at monarchmoney.com, code PHNX. Unbelievable. Love it. I see Jakai Whittingham in the chat already giving us a bold win prediction. Cardinals 10-13 wins. Where are you on this? So Johnny and I have already kind of dabbled a little bit. We don't want to go full definitive. Here's our record prediction, but 10-13, you think that's fair?
Fool me 9 times. Shame on me. Mm-hmm. You know, if they win 6 out of their first 7,
mm-hmm.
like 7 out of their first 9 or something like that, looking at 12. If their easy schedule is 6-4 or 5-3 or something like that, you know, it may not hit 10. So for me, the easy number is 10. I think it's 10.
An old buddy here, the Ben Garcia Show, saying these fellas keep talking about locked on and this and locked on that. What about the former Fox Sports 910 producers tag? That's right.
I was more of a co-host. You know, everywhere I went, you know, I just kind of carried the shows. Yeah? Love you, Jody.
Oh man, that's news to
that's news to everybody.
Ben, myself, Clancy, we all held the role as EP for Jody Ayler back in the day. Yeah, That's right. It's part of our past that we're all proud of. Good to see BG in the chat. Also great to see Dana. Dana R. Haven't seen your name around in the chat for a bit. He's been on a tuna fish salad sandwich kick lately. Speaking of poverty comfort food. Love it. Yeah, who doesn't mind a nice tuna fish
especially
salad?
When it's 396 degrees outside.
Very refreshing. Yeah. Keeping it going with our biggest burning stories, questions going into training camp, Alex. We just talked about the pass rush room. Let's stay with the defensive front seven. No, if you will, let's pull up this question. Top debates going into training camp. You can only keep two. Now, of course, I think you got Sharpied in here on the defensive line. Calais Campbell, Darius Robinson. Of course, you've got Walter Nolan III, and then Dalvin Tomlinson. Let's say you max out at 6 defensive linemen that your roster, so you got to find 2 spots between Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols, Dante Stills, LJ Collier, and the undrafted rookie free agent out of Tennessee, Elijah Simmons.
Elijah Simmons fascinates the hell out of me. He's thick. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need big dudes to go to big schools, and sometimes you surprise people. But for me, like the cathartic one for me is going to be Dante Stills and LJ Collier because they both deserve to be here still. For those that poo-pooed Monty Ossenfort paying Justin Jones and paying Bilal Nichols, they had to pay people. They didn't have anybody on the team.
Yeah.
So, like, I know both of those guys have been injured, but, like, for me, Dante Stills, former 6th-round pick, has played. He's led the interior defensive line room, right? I mean, he's been the best interior defensive lineman since he's come into the league.
Most consistent, most reliable, for sure.
And then LJ Collier is 3 years younger than everybody thinks he is. What is he, 27 or something? Came over from Seattle, got hurt early last year. Like, I think both of those dudes, I would pick those two.
Yeah, it's an intriguing group. Guys, Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, kind of frowned upon from the fan base because they let them down to an extent because they were obviously big money spent, invested in both of those guys. They got hurt, and even before the injuries, they weren't guys that were playing at a high clip. When I look at this, as far as the crunch here, it's going to be a position battle. I don't think anybody has a leg up. I think as far as Dante Stills being 6th-round pick, like the days of that holding much weight versus who produced the most and who they have confidence in exiting camp potentially is going to play the biggest role here. Way I want to forecast this out, and it's like trying to figure out if it's going to rain in Florida. It's probably like Justin Jones and Dante Stills, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's probably fair. I don't think that Justin Jones or Bilal Nichols will be on the team after this season. Right. I mean, we'll see depending upon production this year. Like, all these guys, if they're playing more than 25% of the snaps, there's something wrong. So when it comes down to the front line of dudes, none of these guys are going to be the front line of dudes playing, 70% of the snaps or something like that. But just imagine, irrespective of who it is, heavy goal line with these dudes.
Yeah.
Imagine gaining 2 yards on 4th and 2 with all of the dudes that they've got up front. Like, this is an embarrassment of riches.
Where before it was, opposing offensive lines would get an immense amount of push.
Yeah.
It was a turnstile.
Yeah.
Now it's okay. You've got a rotation that you feel confidence of any combination. If it's Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, Walter Nolan, Darius Robinson, and you mix in the 2 guys that are fortunate to win this position battle. But Jones gets the edge for me over guys like Collier. And Collier, and I think an edge over Nichols, and it's different reasons. I think Jones, it's one or the other, right? And because they both profile a little bit bigger, they're both well over 300 pounds. You got Jones about 309, where you got guys like Collier and Stills, they profile about the same size. So it's like you take one of each profile. So I'm taking Jones and I'm taking Stills. Stills was just, like you said, he was the most consistent guy. Collier, I respect him a lot. Obviously, he commands the respect of his coaches and the organization for bringing him back for a 3rd consecutive year. I just think he's got a long way to go to earn that spot. G. Wilker's just saying keep 7. Like, I wish it was that easy. But then it comes down to who gets the role on game day. That's the biggest thing. You give a guy a jersey, he's got to have a role. That's Gannon's biggest thing. And Stills, I think, has earned it. I know it was a little rocky coming out of the gates last year. He's probably dealing with, was it health? He was inactive early to start last season, but then once again, when they needed him to, he stepped up and played a lot of good downs for the Arizona Cardinals. Let's keep it going here. No, if we could. So I've got my 2. I went with Jones and And Stills, you went with who again?
Stills and Collier.
Stills and Collier. So Stills gets it. This is a big one that is one you'll see consistently. What is the blame for the offensive inconsistencies from last year? How do they remedy going into next year? This is essay form. Look, you got your little box that you can write your essay there.
I've completely forgotten how to write with a pen, by the way. Just want to let you know. I'm texting and typing so much I can't write. I write like a third grader. I say one smart thing a month on my show, Bo.
That's
my quota.
Okay.
That's my quota. This is that for you. Okay.
Okay.
The deficiencies are caused by the inability for the run game and the pass game to be cohesive. So the run game is first down, off tackle. Second down, 2nd and 5, run the ball. Third down, 3rd and 1, either, a rollout or Trey McBride run 2 yards and turn around. And a lot of times that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play off each other. This is a Petzing thing. It's a Kyler thing for not checking out. The deficiencies are because they're not working to benefit the other one. They're like, oh, this is a run down. This is a play action down. This is a pass down. It's very elementary with what this offense looks like compared to what it could be. And I think the really good offenses, they throw the script out. This is a rundown, but you've got a matchup on the outside. Let's call, it's not even a red 7. I mean, we're not even hot round here. But it's like they don't bounce off each other nearly well enough to get the most out of the offense as a whole.
I was all state. I can put the ball wherever you want.
I can put the ball wherever you want.
I hate you right now. Very quotable. Wedding crashers. But look, Jacob saying 70% Petzing, 30% Kyler. Dana had an interior line pick, Petzing or Kyler. Any given play, take your pick. For me, if you were to kind of just whittle it all down, I think it's just the conservative nature of the play calling. I think it was just far too conservative, especially when you're looking at 3rd and down. I think that's somewhere where the personnel, you get a little too risk adverse with the personnel that you have, where I think you can maybe get a little bit more, take the governor off this thing a little bit. Let Kyler rip it with the playmakers that he has. Trey McBride emerged last year. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to emerge this season in year 2. I think just when you look at the deep passing attack that just never consistently showed up last season, you can't have that happen for a second year in a row. So I think that the true major culprit in that was just the conservative nature of the play calling overall.
Now, how much of that is, take the 70-30 Drew Petz and Kyler. And this is on Kyler too. This isn't just the cohesion between the offense, the run and the pass.
Right.
What if the conservative nature was because Kyler's been turnover averse, except for those 3 bad balls he sails a year and just falls into his safety's lap? What if, and we've talked about this off air, what if the problem, the conservative part of this, is because he's taking a 5-yard Trey McBride out instead of waiting for Michael Wilson to drag across the field for 15 or 17, where he can throw it over the top of the safety? What if he's taking the 1st or 2nd look, not because he's dumb, not because he can't read an offense, like some people say in my comments, it's insane. But what if you're not taking calculated chances in a safe environment because you see a 1st down right at the sticks for 6 yards? That's the thing that it feels like Kyler Murray's kind of on a string where it's the offense feels like they're playing with 70% of the field always. This is what it's been, instead of airing it out like we see with all these other teams. So I can't help but think let things develop a little bit more, and the play calling can stay the same if Kyler Murray takes more calculated chances down the field.
I see our guy Hunshot first kind of joking around, talking about Dermicado draws on 3rd and long, and that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I know he's saying it tongue in cheek. It's Damon Dog always likes to say we catch him off guard and then hit him he gets 7-8 yards on 3rd and 14. That conservative approach I can understand to an extent, to where you want to give your defense a shot. But you look at Kyler Murray, who averaged just over 4 yards per completion, yards per attempt on 3rd and long. It's just not. That's not going to give yourself a chance. I think that you have to be aggressive in your play calling. Also, I think it does come on the shoulders of the quarter and the arm of the quarterback to maybe look downfield, or maybe stay in there and let the play transpire to find a better option than just checking down.
Yeah, I do think that infusion, and I've beaten this, to a pulp on my show, but like getting Greg Dortch involved, like just try it.
Just get the ball in his hand.
Just try it.
Yeah.
Every time I highlight Chicago when he broke off that run for a touchdown 2 years ago. Last year it was the slip screen against the Rams after they were removed for playoff contention. Like maybe get him involved when the season matters, and not just have him be a preseason darling and they're already out of playoff contention darling.
Right.
Like he's the only guy on this roster that can do the things that burners on other teams can do.
Yeah,
so
he
why
looks
not
like
just
a punt returner. It's just get him in space.
just get him in space?
Right. And even when he doesn't have that much space, he can maneuver, like what we saw, I think, in the Niners finale. And I know you take anything that happened in that game with a grain of salt because there was nothing to play for either team. But, you saw him 2 touchdowns in that game, making big plays. You want to see kind of light the Dortch a little bit. Sag saying, just dear Drew, do you know that Kyler is not your typical NFL pocket passer? But the one thing I will say, Sag, that Kyler did so a vast improvement from the pocket last year. And I think now, like, he's checked a lot of the boxes to where you can really kind of open up the playbook, especially when you need it on third in long situation, third long, third medium. It's going to be really important for them to step their game up offensively in those spots. Let's keep it going here. Do we have any more questions, or is that the last one? 2 more.
Yeah.
Let's get into those, and then we'll get to the most egregious Cardinals contracts in franchise history here on Bobby Bo Day. Let's keep it going. We filled out our essay. Mine was a little bit long. Teacher gave me an A. Let's see. What will the running back work share look like in 2025? Now, we got a pie chart here, but we need to fill it out. Percentage-wise, James Conner, Trey Benson.
This is the most fun one. Because, like, I've been speaking for 5 years now on James Conner being the perfect LeGarrette Blount for this team. For those who don't know, LeGarrette Blount was the anchor in New England. He was the anchor in Philly in back-to-back Super Bowl years, where if you need to eat clock, he's the dude. And James Conner's like a year away from that. I would love to see less carries for James Conner this year than last year and many more touchdowns. So, like, I would like to see Trey Benson in the first quarter. I would like to see Trey Benson in the second quarter. I'd like to see him with 2 series in the third. I'd like to see him throughout the game. Like, if he's capable at an NFL level to do it. James Conner needs to play 17 weeks or 16, whatever it is, if the Cardinals want to win 10 plus games. It's just what it is. He's been the most important offensive player, not named Kyler Murray, since coming over. So 60-40, I'd love that. If he didn't break 1,000 yards, but had 15 touchdowns this year, and Trey Benson had 700 yards and 6 touchdowns, I want 1,700 rushing yards or 1,800 rushing yards from this group. I don't care where it comes from. Not counting Kyler Murray.
If you're looking at what the work share from last year was, it was about 70% James Conner. He had 283 touches. That includes rushes and then catches out of the backfield. Trey Benson had 69 total. He was about just under 20% of the touches for the running backs for the Arizona Cardinals. You throw in Enter Mercado, DJ Dallas, Michael Carter, who joined the roster late in the year last year after some injuries. I think the sweet spot would be 70-30.
Still.
Yeah, I still think it's James Conner. He's the bell cow. He's the RB1. He's your Toyota Tercel that you're just going to run into the ground. You just sign him to a 2-year extension and just rack up that mileage. I think he's one of those freak shows that continues to age very well at the position. And I'm not saying he's Derrick Henry, but he's consistent as you can find in this game. And you run it until he tells you different as far as that goes.
I mean, while conventional wisdom would lend to think that that's the right answer, it's like the dude, unlike not all running backs have a nose for the end zone. Okay, ask Kenyon Drake about that. Like, James Conner has a nose for the end zone. Remember Ezekiel Elliott when he was great? He always got in the end zone. 1st and 5, 1st and goal from the 5. He got in. LT, guys get in. James Conner has that.
Whether it's power, contortion,
whatever it is,
find a way.
Some people do, some people don't. When it comes to James Conner, he is the most important offensive player, not Trey McBride, not Marvin Harrison Jr. James Conner is the second most important offensive player the Cardinals have outside of Kyler Murray. So if Trey Benson can be 80% of what James Conner is, I let the young legs eat as much as possible. And this is like, you're going to like the thing I want to avoid, which is the only thing that hasn't changed in this offense from Cliff to Drew, is there are series where James Conner touches the ball 9 times in a row. Right. Whether it be passing, catching, it's like, oh, you know what? Nothing else is working. Get the ball to James. That needs to change. That's like the crux of all of this.
Too much of a crutch,
it
right?
Just, yeah, no. Because it's like James Harden dribbling the ball for 22 out of the 24-second shot clock. It stagnates everything. But I agree. I mean, listen, if James Conner is healthy for 17 weeks and he plays 70% of the snap, the Cardinals are doing very well. I would just like to see a little bit of a backtick.
Let's get to this final question real quick. Who are the Cardinals starting outside DBs? So you got Garrett Williams, obviously, in the slot, his usual position. Who do you like outside? So you've got a couple different options here, but I think there's a trio of guys vying for 2 spots.
Yeah, I mean, if Will Johnson's close, you start him. Max played well enough last year. Starling Thomas is a guy that I've kind of just overlooked. I know he plays a couple different positions. He's been a guy, like, if he's your worst corner in that group, you're doing fine. The dude's really grown. But I would rip. I mean, barring any sort of changes and barring any sort of setbacks or anything talent-wise in camp, I mean, I'm ripping Max Melton and Will Johnson, just going.
Give me the 2 second-round picks from the last 2 drafts.
Yeah.
Max Melton, Will Johnson. I want to see him. There you go. That's going to wrap up our biggest burning questions going into 2025 training camp. On the other side, the worst contracts in Cardinals history, plus 49ers fans are big mad once they saw our NFC West rankings. You're not going to want to miss what they had to say. It's coming up, PHNX Cardinals. It is ungodly hot outside. It's brutal. I think I saw the air quality index was at like 405.
Oh, yeah.
Brutal.
500.
Get yourself, did it get all the way up to 5?
Yeah, which was probably over because that's the limit on the
Get yourself under some shade. If you need help maximizing your area, your house's shade, check out our friends over at All Pro Shade Concepts. My God. Extend your outdoor living space with custom fit awning, hundreds of designs to choose from, colors, and match any home. They can work with those pesky HOAs. They're always kind of a hurdle, but look, All Pro Shade Concepts, they've got you in mind, and they're going to hook you up. They can replace and fix most old, outdated patio shades, motorized awnings. Most trusted local shade company voted #1 ranking Arizona for patio shades in 2024. Check them out. BBB A+ ratings with 1,000 5-star reviews on Google. Call them 623-204-1476 and visit allproshadeconcepts.com. That's allproshadeconcepts.com. Schedule your free estimate today. Also, check out what's going on with Mountain America Credit Union. Mountain America Credit Union is committed to helping our more than 1 million members, 100 branches, hundreds of branches throughout the West. Get 2 times the points and rewards credit card purchase through July 31st. That's right. And check out their My Style checking for your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union as well. This promotion is an easy way to stretch your dollar since you can earn twice as many rewards through the end of this month. Redeem your double points for rewards like travel rebates, gift cards, and event tickets. Limited time only. Take advantage while you can. Details macu.com/double. That's macu.com/double. Loans approved on credit. Offer can change and be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. We're back here, PHNX Cardinals. Got to tell you guys about, of course, our NBA free agency diehard sale, $36 for the year. You can sign up, become a diehard today. Go phnx.com in honor of NBA free agency. Give me the access to all the Suns coverage you can handle from our guy, Gerald Bourguet, churning out great work on a daily basis. Get full access to that right now. Of course, exclusive content from Gerald and the crew there. Of course, across the board here at PHNX. There's Johnny, myself, Noah. It's unbelievable what you get for your dollar. $36 for the year. It's going to extend through draft season next year. Become a diehard today for the low cost. I love it. All right, let's get into the Bobby Bo holiday, Bobby Bonilla Day, where the Mets infamously paid him where he's going to get over $1 million through 2030. Bad contract, right? There's some bad contracts in the Cardinals organizational history. Let's take a look at the worst of the worst. Number 5, David Johnson, 3 years, $39 million. This is when you and I were working together, Clancy. Yeah. And we went into the 2020 offseason thinking, man, if they could just offload David Johnson's contract, wouldn't that be great? Not only did they offload David Johnson's contract, they got DeAndre Hopkins in return just for DJ in a second-round pick, but they were able to kind of figure that one out. But it wasn't looking good after just one season signing that deal. Kevin Kolb in 2011.
Yuck.
Yeah, he signed a 5-year, $68 million. Sounds like chump change these days as far as quarterbacks, but it was a big deal back then. What did that contract get the Cardinals? How about Kevin Kolb went 6-8 and earned about $20.5 million of that deal before being just outright released in 2013. I couldn't stay healthy, though.
And he played 3.5 games with Philly before they signed him when Donovan McNabb was out.
Like, this guy is McNabb's successor, and then Mike Vick came back, and they're like, Mike Vick's the guy now.
And David Johnson broke his wrist week 1 of week 17, if I'm not mistaken. So that was sight unseen for a dude. Isn't that right? Didn't he break his wrist week 1?
He broke his wrist 2017, first week, and then just kind of never recaptured any of the magic he had in 2016.
Jeez.
But like, maybe it was, I think it really was the mileage he put on his legs that year, 2016.
Because that was, so it started with Chris Johnson. Man, that backfield was insane. I remember Chris Johnson and David Johnson. David Johnson was one of the
Johnson.
Nothing gets past you, bro.
You are the law firm of Johnson and Johnson.
You are something. And then Kevin Kolb played, Matt Flynn games.
Right.
And then just, oh man, it's brutal.
Just, I mean, the guy had
Sam Bradford
concussion issues, unfortunately. I know he took some, he had some rib issues, just completely torn apart during his tenure here. It's unfortunate because, like, you saw those Wisenhunt teams. They were obviously coming off the Super Bowl appearance a couple of seasons prior.
Right.
And, like, we feel like they have a good core in place, and they just needed that quarterback. And Kevin Kolb couldn't step up, keeping it going here. This is probably the most legit, like, player bad contract. Sam Bradford, 2018 offseason. This is Carson Palmer had retired. Drew Stanton was moving on. New coaching staff was in place. Steve Keim didn't have a plan for the quarterback spot. His solution, Sam Bradford in free agency, signed him to a 2-year, $40 million deal. They had incentives for games played. Well, good thing that didn't really cash in. He earned about $13.5 million of that deal to see him go 0-3 before going away for Josh Rosen.
And
Sam Bradford.
For those that forget, that was actually Bo and my first time in the press box together. First half, offense was on the field against Washington, Alex Smith and Adrian Peterson for 5 minutes of the 30 with Sam Bradford. Then I think it was week 2 or week 3 that year where they was at home against Chicago.
That was week 3.
And they decided to bring Josh Rosen in for a 2-minute drill in his first moments as an NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And then they signed Mike Glennon also, lest we forget. They gave him some cheese also. What a joke. What a joke those years were. That was absolutely unbelievable. Poor Steve Wilkes, man. That was not... Nobody could have done anything with that roster.
No. It was the ultimate make chicken salad out of this chicken crap.
Yeah.
And Sam Bradford was just kind of the face of that. And Josh Rosen wasn't much better. You draft him 10th overall. Most of the guaranteed money from that rookie deal, Cardinals had to pay off after they sent him unceremoniously the following offseason for a second-round pick. Ill-fated second-round pick, by the way, Andy Isabella. So that plays into it as well. And then the top 2, as far as worst contracts, oh, man, this was an egregious one. It was inexplicable. It was after the 2021 playoff run, 2022 offseason came, and at the Combine, news broke that both Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury were extended. I believe it was 5-year extensions at the time. And I don't know about Steve because he unceremoniously resigned. I don't know what the financials were for that. But Cliff Kingsbury's extension, the Arizona Cardinals still remain on the hook for a lot of cheese as far as that one goes.
My favorite tweet of all time that I tweeted out.
No.
When I saw this come out.
So humble.
My tweet. There are not many great ones, Bo.
I agree.
There are not many great ones. This one was after I saw this immediately. I tweeted out Kyler Murray should request a trade immediately. Kyler Murray should immediately request a trade because that, and then he got fired before it even kicked in. Both of them, like, What in the wide world? And then, I mean, I guess an honorable mention here, even though it wasn't his fault, was the Tyrann Mathieu contract.
Yeah.
Because they gave him way too much money. And then they
Coming
asked
off an
for it
ACL
back.
tear. Yeah.
Then they asked for it back. He goes, nope.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go win a Super Bowl or 2 somewhere else a couple years down the road. So, yeah. And then not paying Calais Campbell. A couple of knots also.
Yeah,
but
there's a
those
couple
were
guys you let walk.
That's a solid list, bro.
Yeah. But the Kym Kingsbury one, because Kingsbury's getting coordinator money, like the way coaching contracts work, like the Commanders are paying a portion of it, right? He can't just like add it on top of what the Cardinals are paying, but it's chump change. Like he got the extension. I think it was, there was word or there was rumors it was around like $7 million, and it was going to be in total money like 40. I think the Cardinals are still on the hook until he gets a raise or he gets another head coaching job, which would completely probably get all that money off the books.
Jeez. You look at the Suns and the Cardinals with how many coaches they're still paying. It's crazy.
It is wild.
Baker's dozen, Bob.
Also not great, Bob. Let's keep it going. Actually, on this other side of the show, our NFC West rankings, I guess, rubbed 49ers fans the wrong way. Shocker to nobody. We get to see the highlights of their reaction to finding the rankings online. It's all coming up next. PHNX Cardinals. We get bad reviews from Niners fans. Like, spoiler alert, but you know who doesn't get bad reviews? Our friends over at Empire Today. They are the experts in flooring that are going to get you on the way, and they're going to get you set up with the best flooring upgrades you can find. Go to Empire Today. They're going to make it quick, easy, convenient, and they're professional installers. They're going to make your place look unbelievable, whether it's, of course, you're looking at wood flooring, tile, carpeting, laminate, whatever it might be. Empire Today is the place for you. No big box stores where you're just wandering aimlessly down the aisles and there's somebody that was working at Taco Bell last week that's going to give you insight somehow on how to upgrade your flooring, even though they just were mixing up a gordita previous week. Check it out with Empire Today and save some money while you're at it. $350 right off the top from Empire Today just by being a listener viewer of PHNX Sports. Go to EmpireToday.com/PHNX. Use the code PHNX and schedule your free in-home estimate today. EmpireToday.com/PHNX. It's going to get you on your way to new flooring with $350 right off of that. Also, let's wrap it up with our friends over at Branded Bills. Oh, man, love Branded Bills, going international, but, man, they are a local company here out of Mesa, Arizona, and they are elevating brands worldwide, making people look great. You go to any event, you get out and about in Phoenix, the metropolitan area, or wherever you may live, you'll see that BB on the side of so many different hats. They're taking over, man. If you're looking to elevate your brand, whether it's your company or your kids' little league team, your co-ed softball team, Branded Bills has you covered with, the custom apparel that you need. Snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies. Branded Bill has you covered with the performance and style that you want, plus the campus collection, ASU, U of A, GCU. They're going to let you rep your school. Go to check them out right now and save money. BrandedBills.com. Use the code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. That's BBPHNX at checkout at BrandedBills.com for 15% off your first order. It's a fun one today, man. Hanging out with my old friend Alex Clancy. Follow him on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. And listen to Locked On Cardinals. You'll be up and running here. You had a little bit of a snafu earlier this week.
Yeah, my AC's been out for the last 2 days. So
it's a good time for it to go out.
I mean, it's been 350 degrees combined the last 2 days. So yeah, not ideal.
Kind of hot in these rhinos.
Kind of hot in these rhinos.
That's unbelievable.
Warm. Children.
All right. So Johnny, before he took an endless vacation, an indefinite vacation, I think he's going to be back tomorrow, allegedly. Word on the streets is he's going to return to work tomorrow. But we did a little exercise where we stacked the Arizona Cardinals going into 2025 against their peers in the NFC West, their rivals in the NFC West. There it is. Noah, we've got, and you can give us your thoughts here before we jump into the Niners fans that found this here on social media. But quarterback, we got the Cardinals second behind the Rams, and then, put Sam Darnold coming off a 35 touchdown performance ahead of Brock Purdy, who we have at fourth. We just don't feel like Brock Purdy, with kind of a shrinking or eroding playmaking crew, is going to step up and we think he's the fourth best quarterback in the division. And I can see, people make their case for Brock Purdy, but this is how we stack it up. Running back, Kyron Williams, James Conner, the two guys in Seattle between Walker and Charbonnet, and an injured, aging Christian McCaffrey. Last time we saw Christian McCaffrey, 4 games. It wasn't pretty for the 49ers. So until he proves that he's back, we got him 4th. Wide receiver, Puka, Devontae Adams in the Rams. You got Cooper Kupp joining JSN in Seattle. And then you just got Marvin Harrison Jr. and hopefully some emerging parts here in the Valley. And then you've got no Debo, an injured Brandon Ayuk. And then we'll see what Ricky Pearsall can do to complement Juwan Jennings. Tight end, we gave the edge to our guy Trey McBride at 25 over 31-year-old George Kittle. That was the toughest debate, I think, of all this. But no doubt about it, you can switch 1 and 2 any way you want, but I think that they lead the division. Offensive line, Rams get the edge, Cardinals second. Niners, I don't think they can debate this one. They're third, and then the Seahawks struggle up front on the offensive side of the football. You just kind of go through the defenses here. Well, any thoughts about these rankings?
I'm really excited to see what the comments are, but like with me, I would flip-flop San Francisco for quarterback and running back with Seattle.
Okay.
I do think the Cardinals, like, if it was in name only, San Francisco would be first on the majority of these things.
Exactly.
Right?
No doubt about it.
Yeah. So with quarterback, though, Sam Darnold's had 1 good year in his career.
Right.
Brock Purdy's had 4. I don't care what it is. I don't care what the infrastructure was. I don't care that they struggled last year with Christian McCaffrey out. I would take Brock Purdy to win 1 game over Sam Darnold. So with that, I would flip it, but I agree with the rest.
Okay.
Wide receivers, I agree. I would probably flip, and this isn't necessarily fair, but I'd probably put the Cardinals last. Now, I understand your stance with the wide receiver. I understand your point with Ricky Pearsall and then Brandon Ayuk missing probably 6 weeks, but I think that floor is higher. Tight end, I'd probably flip for George Kittle. And now this is like the last year. Trey McBride is going to be all pro for the next decade. George Kittle is ageless. George Kittle is, I would say, if you had to say who's the best tight end in football, I think that George Kittle's the best tight end in football. He's taken away from Travis Kelce. Trey McBride has to do it with more than 6 touchdowns in 3 years. So that's the only one really with that. The rest I'd probably agree. But yeah, like, I'm still taking Christian McCaffrey over Kenneth Walker, and I'm taking Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold.
Okay.
But other than that, pretty good.
Reasonable takes.
Yeah. But it's very close.
Yeah. And I don't think you looked at ours and said, hey, this is like Homer bias takes, right?
No.
No, lead us through these tweets about our NFC West rankings from the 49ers fans that found it.
So first one we got are, who are these potatoes? If this isn't a joke, then I need names. And then, who the F are these clowns? Laughing emoji. My dog could put together a better list.
Oh, that's original.
Yeah.
Shock Max, the first. What a name on that one. Either they were very lazy or getting ready for their 4th shot of tequila when this list was made.
3rd. Yep. Lightweights over here.
Yeah. Wine coolers.
I like those. Do they continue?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
right.
we got plenty. Then we get into Mr. Patriot here. Well, shoot, I got a ranking for them. People whose opinions mean nothing to me. Number 1, Bo Brock. Number 2, Johnny Venerable. Number 3, car salesman. 4, any Patriots fan.
Johnny edged you out there.
Man, he did. He did. I can't believe that I'm his number 1 guy he least values opinion on.
Yeah,
Johnny's going to hang that over my head.
Oh, it's so good.
But that car salesman, man. He's moving up the ranks. Any Patriots fan. Look at that, George. LOL. Who's Bo Brock and who's Johnny Venerable?
Who are Bo Brock and Johnny Venerable? Let's at least do proper English.
You're right. I read it with correct grammar.
Yeah. Then we'll jump into this one here.
Don't smoke crack.
Don't smoke crack.
LT from the Water Boy.
That's
Great
really
cameo.
Good. It's fantastic.
Yep. And then the guy who
Coach
reposted
Yak,
it.
49ers Dov.
Yep. Said Dumb and Dumber.
The guy who just
that's actually
just the aggregator. Next one. This one's funny. Vibes is back. It says dumb F Cardinals media F these guys coach. Jay Phillips says, who are these two T words, never heard of them.
Yeah.
Then Jeremy said, who are Bo Brock and this other guy?
You edged out Johnny with that
There
one.
we go. I'm back, baby.
50-50.
1-for-1 here. Who is this other guy? Can we just say that? Can I introduce Johnny as the other guy going forward?
Yeah, we can do that. Then we got Kevin here. He got real serious. This is a way overreaction.
Okay, I love it. That's
this
the
is why
most. The
I
reaction, the overreaction is my favorite reaction on Twitter.
This is why I can't take Twitter, social media, or anyone else serious. My eyes tell me something different.
Did anybody ask you, Kevin?
Wait, how do his eyes tell him different? When Christian McCaffrey barely played, and when we saw him, he was just a shell of himself last year.
He has a 6-pack though.
Oh yeah, he looks great according to reports.
Hey, you gotta, maybe Kevin's blind.
Come on now. We're officially in overtime as we continue here with the 49ers clapping back at us in our NFC West rankings.
Yeah, then we got Edwin's opinion. Edwin's a funny name.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Biased and ignorant isn't a hopeful combo for Bo and Johnny's whatever it is they do.
Oh.
And then we got MF says, who the F are these idiots? LOL.
That's great.
There we go.
We got more.
Oh,
we got a lot more.
My God.
This is uneducated sports morons with an agenda. No one in their right mind would at 49ers last in almost every category. How did these people even stomach such ignorance?
I like that one from DA. I do. It's a nice, strong take. He's trying to discredit us, saying it's uneducated. Why wouldn't they just fall in line with the national media groupthink and just say, hey, forget about 2024 with the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. Just rip it out of the history books. It didn't happen. Nobody cares that there was a mass exodus this offseason for a bad 6-win team the previous season, and that their aging stars are just going to get back on track, because that always happens in the NFL. It's all about aging veterans in this league.
Yeah, I mean, Trent Williams is getting discounts at movie theaters now.
Right.
You know? So it's not like, I don't know. Nick Bosa's brother decided to go somewhere else.
Right. You said thanks, but no thanks, 49ers. But I like the Mack Williams edition, right?
Yep.
And look, don't get me wrong. Like, the San Francisco 49ers are going to have success in 2025. They are. If you look at their cupcake schedule, their Jake Paul schedule, they're going to be able to take advantage of some lesser opponents. It's historically one of the worst schedules I've ever seen. So even if they don't take care of business within the NFC West, they're going to have success beating up on NFC South, the AFC South, just like the Cardinals, and then a fourth place schedule, because that's where the Niners finished last year. They finished dead last in the division. But they're going to just say, hey, miraculously, by being healthier, it's just going to bode. It's going to the train is back on the tracks for the 49ers.
The only thing that can happen for them to win is Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams playing as close to 17 games as possible. If they don't play, if neither of them play, they don't win games. Like, they just don't win games.
And I don't know how they're going to stop the run. They were so bad against the run. And I know they added 2 players in the draft, but these were day 2 picks. In Alfred Collins and West out of Indiana. I mean, that's asking a lot. It's like they're not just going to show up day one and they're going to be, DeForest Buckner 2.0.
Right. Yeah, I know. I mean, they've got Fred Warner, they've got Nick Bosa, and that's what they're riding on.
What was the final comments here from our
Yeah, we got one more from Jonathan here. This one's a real treat. This obviously was done by an idiot. False. 2. Who in their right minds thinks that Connor, Walter III, actually it's Walker, or whomever plays for the Rams, is better than CMC? This was clearly done by someone who hates a 49er, not without the S, organization. No fact checking in sight at all. Obviously, this guy has no spell checking. So I don't
get it. I seriously, I don't understand how you could say doesn't pass the eye test and it's done without fact checking. Because if I were to check, you're asking me to check the facts from a season before last season. You want me to go back to 2023 when everything is sunshine and roses for the 49ers and they have a perfect storm of health with CMC, George Kittle, and their wide receiver core's up to snuff, and Trent Williams. I mean, everybody's healthy and ready and available. And then you can't acknowledge that Christian McCaffrey, who's closer to 30 than anybody wants to admit, and he had to go have cutting edge procedure done or treatments on his Achilles.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant surgery.
That he's just going to come back and he's going to miraculously be himself.
Now, with that said, you guarantee 17 games from all 4 of those running backs. I'm taking Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
Like,
and that's that
if they in a vacuum. Now, obviously, that's a far fetched.
That's fair. But that's the thing. That it's about as far fetched of a scenario as
would you rather
conjure.
have 13 games of Christian McCaffrey or 16 games of Kenneth Walker?
Probably the former.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about with Kyron Williams? Kyron Williams is the only we'll see if he does it again.
Yeah, he's been so good the last 2 years.
He's been so good. He's been a touchdown. He's been that guy. But yeah, it's just fascinating. 49ers are fascinating.
And especially when you start to take in consideration the depth at those spots as well, where it's Christian McCaffrey.
Is Isaiah Guerrero still there?
Gurriendo,
sorry.
Yeah, is it James?
Yeah, there's another one. They just breed running backs there.
Right. But nobody is as dynamic as Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
And this league's long history of rearing its ugly head at aging players who've had the wear and tear and Christian McCaffrey, this isn't injuries aren't new to him. He's been plagued he was plagued by them before he went to San Francisco. That's why people scoffed at the Niners sending what they did to Carolina back in the day. And it worked out for him. He was the best player in the league. I'm admitting that, and I'm not going to deny that. But to say that he's just going to be able to somehow get his way back after being so far from it, and the clips he was running at last year were would have been the lowest he was running at when he was at his peak in 2023. So.
Yeah. No, it'll be fast. I mean, he's gonna play like Cam Scatterboot from here on out. It's not gonna be speed. He's just gonna run over people.
Yeah,
it's not. He doesn't have that scoot for sure.
And the big thing too is just gonna be his lateral quickness. Yeah. Life comes at you fast, especially in the NFL. That's the shelf life of running backs. It's so small. Midwest Mike saying 49ers living in the past. Bye-bye. I like that.
Uncle Rico, baby.
Let's end this with a little super chat here. Dana R jumping right back in with $5. Welcome, Clancy. We all expect the secondary to improve with pass rush and more time for Max, Garrett, etc. all in the system. What if it doesn't? Then you look at kind of a scenario defensively that you looked at offensively last year. It's hey, you have all this talent, all this draft capital that we've invested, all these cap dollars. Why isn't it trending towards being, a top 10 group?
I think the main difference on defense is you've got Budda Baker over the top. They've got a stopgap that the offense doesn't have because the offense isn't constructed that way. So if you've got Budda Baker playing at elite level, I've been on record saying this could Budda Baker could 100% be all pro, and this could be his best year because he's able to not have to do anything else, just like last year. He was on with Mina Kimes, friend of this show, friend of my show. He's ready. This is it. You have that dude. You have Jalen Thompson. You have Rabbit. If it's going to be him supplanting Jalen Thompson, they've got an infrastructure in place to be able to protect against a complete free fall.
Yeah.
Now, the answer to the question directly, you've got all your money. You've got all your picks. Keep rolling. It
would shock me to not see this group take a step,
a massive step.
Right. Because of the collaboration, obviously, on the coaching staff with the increase in talent in each and every respective room, especially up front. Just to not to if we're sitting here in week 8, 10 next year, and we're just not seeing the disruption that we expected from this front seven, then
yeah.
But I it's just not something that I would anticipate, just given the collaboration that you're going to see from Jonathan Gannon, who did it from a play calling perspective in Philly to the tune of 70 sacks, and then his defense forcing a ton of turnovers, 17 picks in that year too. Him and his mentee Nick Rawlis, who's one of the best up and coming play callers. I just think that mixed with the talent, it should bode well.
Yeah.
So Love it. I also love seeing Grinson 480 saying, I need a super pod from all you guys. Yeah, we got to do that in the dog days. We got to get some of the all-stars, especially some of the guys that have filtered in and out of here, helping fill the void left by Johnny Venerable on vacation. Or when I was after having our second kid, everybody helping us keep this thing going and being a part of this Cardinals community like we love being. Big thanks to Alex. Thanks to Donnie Druin yesterday. Our guy Tyler from Bird Gang Travel. Cam Cox, who also filled in last week. Great collaboration of talented Cardinals talker minds, I guess, out there. I don't know. But
that great endorsement for you with it being a talker in mind with that.
But it's been a fun one. Make sure you subscribe to PHNX Sports. Check out Locked On Cardinals wherever you find podcasts, and of course on YouTube as well. Follow Clancy at Clancy's Corner on Twitter. Follow the show at PHNX_Cardinals, Twitter, Instagram. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We got a banger of a show lined up for you. Tomorrow we start previewing position groups leading up to training camp. Don't miss it. Right here, 4:30, PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.